Okay, so just continuing. Hope everybody. Thank you, everybody.
I switched to, oh, I know why it's not now. I guess my fault. I have to go.
We have to mute it. Yeah, people who are on have to mute it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
People that are in the share.
That's like the Wizard of Oz.
It's my fault. I'm talking too much. Okay.
Okay, you can close it already because no more shit.
Yeah,
okay. Okay, thank you, everybody. I'm sorry for the interruption. So the Gemara just finished saying that the way you count doesn't make a difference. You can count first.
Did you start? You have to start the recording. You are recording?
Yeah, I am. I don't know what happened to the first recording, if it is going to be in a cloud or not, but we started again. Thank you. So the Gemara just finished saying that there's no difference how you count. If you count 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4, or you do 2 and 1, 3 and 1, 4 and 1, that doesn't make a difference. That's the way of counting. But then the Gemara continues, the Kul Yalma Mias, you do have to count the first one. Means you don't just count the first one and then start counting the bottom one and forget about it. They did the first one already. You have to include the counting of the above one, the up one up, also together with the down. And therefore, when you're counting the down, you say, besides the one that I did, there's another 1 down, 2 down, 3 down. You always have to bring in the one on top. Why? My timer. So Belazar says, just a way of not to confuse him. He shouldn't get confused. Rashi says that he has more time to think what he's doing, which is a little dochak, but the Tanakh says that the point is that he shouldn't forget when he started counting this number, is he including the first one or not? He might have counted, he's up to number 4, let's say, 4 or 5. Then he chaps, does that include the first one? Am I counting up till 8 or am I counting only up till 7? And I really did the first one that's finished already. So in order that he shouldn't be confused of how he's counting, we tell him, save a favor, how are you counting? I'm counting now. Besides the first one, there's another 1, there's another 2, there's another 3. That way he won't get confused of how he's counting. That's really not so important. It's just a precaution that he shouldn't make a mistake. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Krov Lefnei Kaparos Yazeh Shein Tamud Lo Yazeh Umat Tamud Lo Yazeh Livad Al Azar Rishon Shetzricha Minyan Im Kol Lachas V'Yachas. It's he learns it from a pasuk. According to Rabbi Yochanan, it's very important. It's the Raisa because it says Lefnei Kaparos Yazeh. Which pasuk is that? I think it's the first pasuk by the bull. Lefnei Kaparos Yazeh Sheva Pomim. So that word over there, Yazeh, is extra because it says already that he's sprinkling, so he doesn't have to say it again. That word is extra. So why does it say it? To learn out that one on top, the top one, the one he did, Ala Kaporis, Yazeh, that one that he did before should also be included in the 7. There has to be some connection between the 1 and the 7. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, it's a pasuk. According to Rabbi Elazar, it's just a precaution that he shouldn't make a mistake of confusion. According to Rabbi Yochanan, it's the Raisa. And the Gemara says, "My benai, what is the ramifications between this machlokes? If he didn't count, but he didn't make a mistake. If he made a mistake, surely it's not good. If he made a mistake, but if he didn't make a mistake, but he didn't count, according to Rabbi Elazar, fine, it was a precaution, but you didn't need the precaution because you counted well. But according to Rabbi Yochanan, it's the right and it's ma'akev. Rashi says chukah. If he counted wrong, so he messed it up and he'd have to do it again, even though he didn't make any mistake. He did 1 up and 7 down, but he didn't count. With the right, you must count, and you must count also that the counting has to include each time you do a down counting, you have to also include that I did already 1 before. And it doesn't say why. They're probably Kabbalistic reasons why he has to count. If somebody would ask you, what do you think the Kohen Gadol said in the Kodesh HaKadoshim? What did he say in the Kodesh HaKadoshim? The only thing he said was they counted. That's all he did. He didn't say any tefillah. There was no tefillah in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. He counted 1, 1 and 1, 1 and 2, 1 and 3. I'm sure there's Kabbalistic reasons what he's doing over there. The tefillah was the Bais HaChitzon, right? He didn't daven in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So there's no tefillah. What did he say in the Kodesh HaKadoshim once a year? 1, 1 and 1, 1 and 2, 1 and 3. That was in the Kodesh HaKadoshim.
Rebbe.
Yes, please.
There are 2 major maforshim. The main one is the Maral. The Maral discusses that it's overall 8. 8 is Lamala Minateva, but it's Dafka 1 and 7. 1 and 7 because
that's why he's sprinkling. That's why he's sprinkling. Why is he counting? That's why he's sprinkling.
Yeah, but it is explaining it because he's saying the 1 comes first according to Manda Amar Hashem, and then comes out from that all 7, which is the this world, including 7 Shabbos, the internal. But it's 1 and then 7. And the Abarbanel also talks about it. That I didn't see it all inside, but the Maral goes Barichas.
Okay, there's also, I'm sure there's going to be Kabbalistic reasons. The Ramchal talks about it in a few lines. There are different reasons but in the Pshat in the Gemara, it does says that is it only a precaution or is it the Raisa? If it's the Raisa, then you have to know what's the Raisa all about. Okay, the Gemara continues. Yatzav v'nichol kan azav shabeichel. So now we're going out. He finished with the blood of the bull. It says he went outside and he put it on a stand. A can is like key of a can, like a base. There was a base. I don't think it was there the whole year. No reason to leave it in the Heichel the whole year. But Yom Kippur, they brought it on because he's going to have to put the blood down. He's handling the blood of the bull, blood of the goat. So he has to have a place to put it down. So in the Mishnah had a machlokes. Rabbanan say there are two stands, one for the blood of the bull, one for the blood of the goat. According to Yehuda, there was only one stand. And he would take the one, he put down the one of the bull. Then when he wants to put down the one of the goat, he'll take the one of the bull and put the one of the goat. And the Gemara is going to talk about how come, according to Yehuda, there only was one stand. It seems that the Gemara would like that Rabbanan should be right. There should be two stands. One for the bull, the goat of the blood of the bull, and one of the blood of the goat. Why did that have only one stand? I'll just say the Gemara, preview of the Gemara. The Gemara is going to think maybe the reason is that according to Yehuda, you shouldn't get confused. You shouldn't, by mistake, if you have two bowls of blood and he puts down both of them, maybe he's going to forget which one he's up to. He might take the wrong one. It means he put down the one of the bull and then the one of the goat. He's supposed to take the one of the bull. Maybe he's going to take one of the goat again. He does put it down and he won't realize he'll take it again. So maybe in order to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes, you only have one stand.
So he's
But there, can't make any
holding one
mistake
and sitting
because
on-
when you take one, when you have one and you want to switch it, so you have to take the other one and put that one back. That one is how much is not going to make a mistake. So that's what the Gemara thinks the reason is. So based on that, the Gemara is going to talk about Rabbi Yehuda. Is that the reason why he would say you only have one, don't have two? So the Gemara starts. Tanas, we want the Mishnah over there. Mishnah in where is that? Mishnah in Shkolim. We had that not so long ago. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, L'hayu shafaros l'kinei chova l'pnei hatarova. So over there it talks about the 13 shafaros, 13 kupot, like kind of we call a pushka, 13 boxes of money in the Hazara. And it says over there, we're going to see some number basis, going to bring the whole Mishnah down. And over there it says what they were used for, is tiklan chadatin, tiklan atikin for the shkolim. And last year's shkolim, this year's shkolim. Also, people want to donate things. Talks about eitzim, lavona, all kinds of things you want to donate. 6 for Nadava. And over there it also says about kinen and what are the two words over here? One is going to be called kinen and gozle ola. Of the 13 boxes of money that are available in the Azara, so one of them says kinen, which means a pair of birds, and one says gozle ola, which means also gozolos is a young birds for a korban ola. So what were they used for? What were these two boxes designated for? So in the Mishnah we learned the Mishkal Maz Machlokas over there. The Chachamim say that the one for kinen was for a chatas, and a ola means a pair. A kain means a pair of birds, and if someone's chayiv, sometimes ola bird and a chatas bird. So that would be the pair.
Like a mitzvah?
By I think that a mitzvah is one. I think so.
Yes.
Okay, there's a zava yoledes. Rashi doesn't bring it down. Rashi doesn't say mitzvah over here. Rashi says, I think not over there. Talks about that. I forgot. There's a zav and a zava yoledes and a matami mikdash. Maybe I'm sorry, I forgot offhand. But anyway, there are sometimes the person's chayiv a pair of birds, and then there's an adava. Stama. I want to voluntarily bring a korban, so I could bring korban ola. There's no such thing as a voluntary korban chatas, but you could bring a voluntary korban ola. So the machlokes was, what were those two pushkas for? One for kinen and one for gozlei ola. What are they for? The Rabbanan say the kinen is for a set of a chatas and a ola, and the gozlei ola is for an adava of an ola. Rabbi Yehuda says no. Here's Rabbi Yehuda. But there was no pushka for the chova, meaning a pair of birds, a chatas and ola, because of confusion. Tarovas, confusion, some kind of mix-up. What's the mix-up? So we had a shot over there when we learned shkolim, but now the Gemara doesn't know. The Gemara wants to know what kind of mix-up are you scared of? My what does that mean? Rabbi Yehuda says don't make a pushka one for kine chova for obligatory pair of birds because it might get confusion. What's the confusion? Rav Yosef says because it might get confused which is which. You have these two boxes, and you say one of them is going to be for a chova of obligatory chatas and ola. The other one's going to be only for ola. They might get mixed up. You might use the money from the wrong one, and the one that's made only for chatas and ola can't be used for an ola. The one's for ola can't be for a chatas. So in order to avoid the confusion, so make only both of them for an ola. One's going to be for Torah, one is for Bnei Yonah, different kind of birds, but that's not such a terrible thing if you switch it up. So you got the wrong kind of bird, but that's okay. But it's a different kind of a bird, but they're all kosher. That was Rav Yosef's shot. The reason why you don't make two boxes, one for chova, which is a chatas and ola, one for an ola and a dava, because they might get mixed up, which is very strange. It's not like I would throw in right away. You have over there 13 boxes. Everything is different boxes. Why dafka these two are going to get mixed up? How about the other 13 boxes? Maybe the Gemara is going to talk about it soon. So that was Rav Yosef's shot. That don't make two boxes of different kind of birds because different kind of obligations because they might get confused with each other. Bottom line, what's the problem? make 2 boxes and write on it. Write on it. Write on it. Make it say this is chova, this is a dove. What's the problem?
Right.
Why not?
I don't know.
So the
Right.
so the Gemara says the Gemara tries to get out of it by saying that Rabbi Yehuda holds that you can't trust writing. Just because you wrote a note, not always do you read the notes. So sometimes even if you're going to put on it, it's going to say this is bisari, this is chalavi. But sometimes you make a mistake. So Rabbi Yehuda doesn't trust the writing. Rabbi Yehuda less like ksiva. The Gemara tries to say that Rabbi Yehuda doesn't rely on the writing in order to make sure you don't make any mistake. And the Gemara is going to prove it from our Mishnah. Let's say it outside, they won't see it inside. The Gemara says, why did Rabbi Yehuda not make 2 stands? For one for the blood of the bull, one for the goat, and write on it. There wasn't more thing. Maybe he's going to get confused. You're not going to realize which is the blood, which is the goat, which is the bull. So write on it. This is Par and this is Sire. It must be a view that doesn't hold. You can't rely on these notes. There was only 1 stand. Why? Why doesn't he make 2 stands? Because that's going to mix up. He's not going to realize which is which. He'll take the wrong blood. Take 2 and make on it. Write on it. This is Sar and this is a Par. It must be El Abuda less like Ksiva. It must be that Abuda doesn't trust the note. He doesn't trust the sign. Just because you put a sign doesn't mean necessarily that you could trust it. So therefore, that's the shot over there. Why by the Chova and then the Dava, he doesn't want to make 2 boxes of 2 different kinds of obligations, because even if you're going to write this is the Dava and this is the Chova, people might not realize what it says, and they're going to make a mistake, bring it for the foreign carbon. But the most Akasha
I'm not understanding what it means, Leisley Kativa. If it's written, it seems like it's easier to not make a mistake. So what does it mean, Leisley Kativa?
It means he doesn't rely on that. He doesn't hold that that's enough reliable. Rashi on top line. Ain't something
Why
on
not?
that. You don't
Why
rely
not?
on
What is
writing.
it?
What?
Why wouldn't you rely on
I'm sorry?
writing?
Because sometimes
Why
it happens in the
wouldn't
kitchen,
you
doesn't it?
rely on writing?
Because sometimes it doesn't work. You have in the kitchen, sometimes this is meat and this is milk, and sometimes people still make a mistake.
He's
Because they were busy
he's
and
saying human error. He's saying that he doesn't rely on people because they won't look at the notes.
Right. That even though the writing is there, but people don't notice it. So maybe the Kohen Gadol is not going to notice the writing of the Parnas.
And Baal Peh, if it's not written, then you mean they'll have to be more careful.
No. Rabbi there's a better rate. So Rabbi says that by the case of the blood, make only 1 stand. If there's only 1 stand, then they can't make any mistake. You take 1, you put the other one down. There's no mistake. If you have 2, so then you put it down, and now you got distracted, whatever he's thinking about, Kabbalah over there on Yom Kippur, and then he has to take he took the wrong one. He'll take the same one over again. But if you only have 1 stand, there's no mistake. And also by the case of the birds over here, don't make 2 different kinds of obligations, because you might take the wrong one, but make the same kind. One is pigeons, one is turtle doves. That's no difference. But don't make 2 different kinds, because you might get confused, and don't rely on the writing. We can't rely on the fact that it has a note. We might not. Okay, the Gemara can ask the kasha from the Mishnah over there. It says there are 13 boxes, and over there it does say you do write on it. And I think that's what the Gemara's kasha is. That it says there were different boxes. It wasn't only 2 boxes. Then it says there were 13. So you see, you have to rely on the writing. Meisveit, it says Shlosh Esrik Shofar Soiv Mikdash. This is the Mishnah we were talking about. There were 13 boxes in the Beis Hamikdash. Vayikasav Alein, Tiklin Chadatin, Tiklin Atikin, Kinan, Gozlei Ola, Eitzim, Lavona, Zahav, Lukaporis. Shisha, and then Sishal and Adava. There were 7 plus another 6 for the Dava. One of them, and the Mishnah explains what each one was for. Tiklin Chadatin means Shkolim Chadashim. Elu Shkolim Shal Kol Shana V'Shana. When this was the new Shkolim for the new year, and it says Shkolim Chadashim, if you bought your Machzah Shekel, you put it into that box. Then there was another box, Tiklin Atikin, Shkolim Yishanim, Mishal Shakal Shtaka, Yishkol Shana Abba. If you didn't give last year's Shkolim, so you're supposed to give it this year to pay it for last year. And that's where it says Tiklin Atikin. Then there was another box, Kinan. And that's what we're talking about. The one of Kinan goes Leola. Kinan ain't Torah goes Leola and Ben Yona. The Kul and Ola's Livy Yehuda. Then it goes on that Yehuda holds that both of them were for the same purpose. Just one was pigeons, one was turtle. That was different kind of birds, but they're all kosher. And the Rabbanan say no, that the Kinan is for a Chatas and a Ola. But anyway, what do you see? That Yehuda is talking over there, and he says that you do write it. So you can't tell me Yehuda doesn't rely on writing. Yehuda does rely on writing. So we're back to the question: how come over there? Rabbi Yosef says, don't make both boxes, one for Chatas and Ola, the other one for an Ola. In our Mishnah, we don't know what Pshat in our Mishnah yet, but he does rely on writing. We don't know Pshat in our Mishnah. How come he only makes 1 stand? We'll get to that soon. But at this point, we proved that Yehuda does rely on writing to be a good memory device. So the question is, over there, Shkolim, how come he doesn't make 2 different boxes for 2 different kinds of chiyuvim? The reason the confusion is not between the 2 boxes. The confusion is when the box itself. If you can have a box that has kinei chova, which means that a woman or a man that has a obligation to bring a chatas and ola, and he puts the money inside, and he might die. It means that many people putting money into that box, and then the Kohanim would take all the money and bring as many birds as they had money for, and they would say l'shem ba'alav, whoever the owner is. He doesn't have to know the name. Rachel, Leah, doesn't have to know what the name is. He just brings it. Whoever's money it is, that's what the government is for. But what if somebody's going to die? If someone's going to die, so then you can't bring a chata shemesu bala. You're not allowed to bring a ola shemesu bala. If the owner of the ola died, you could bring the korban. But if a chata that the owner died, you're not allowed to bring the korban.
Maybe you could
So if the person
good in the Olam and Emes.
So no such thing. Then once a person died, no chatas. So that's the Gemara says that maybe someone's going to die, and therefore you're not going to be able to bring, not because it's going to get mixed up to two boxes. The Gemara is getting out of that. No such thing, no confusion. But if somebody might die, so then you're not going to be able to bring any of them. The whole box is going to be a problem because there's 25 ladies put the money in, but one lady died. So no one's going to be able to bring any of the korbanos. But the Gemara says, are we scared somebody's going to die? But if somebody sent the korban from overseas, and we don't know if he's still alive, we don't have a telephone to verify, you're allowed to be the korban because the cheskas chai. If he was live when he sent it, we can assume it was live until otherwise proven. So we shouldn't be choshesh someone's going to die. The answer is not maybe somebody's going to die, but in the case where somebody dies, if we know the fact, somebody died, a person who put money, many people put money into this box to bring their chol, and then somebody died. We know the person. We know that he died, and she had put money, or he or she had put money into this box. So then the whole box is now goes liibud. The whole box. Yeah, 25 people, 50 people put money into that box, but one of them, we don't know who it is. And the one who died, that one, you can't bring the chatas anymore. So now we're not going to be able to bring any of them. In order to avoid that problem, so then only bring ola. Only make a box full. If someone wants to bring a chatas and ola, then go to the coin directly and don't put it into the box.
So let's go back to Rabbi Yossi.
That's Rav Shana Rabbi Yehuda. The reason why Rabbi Yehuda says don't make a box of chova is in order to avoid that there shouldn't be confusion, that it shouldn't get mixed up with a woman who would die after she put the money in. If she put the money in and then she died.
All it does work even if somebody
only
dies.
Right. If it's only, you can bring it even if she died. But if chatas, the owner died, you can't bring it anymore. That's the end of today's Gemara. We stop here. There's a short daf tomorrow. It'll be easier. Just to sum up what we did today. Very simple. The Gemara said the drush is to say that when you do by the goat and by the bull, even though the pasuk doesn't say beferish, it only says beferish by the bull 7 times down and by the goat 1 time up. But the drasha tells us to learn one from the other. So, but both the bull and the goat, it's 1 up and 7 down. But all of them it doesn't touch. It doesn't touch the Oran. That even though it says al, it doesn't mean literally. It has to be al dumidil lufnei. It's also another drasha in the pasuk over there extra to learn out. Whenever it says lufnei, it means eastward. After that, the Gemara said the two is counting.
True? Is that true that all these 2 lifneis are actually eastward? That direction.
It happens to be, yeah. You're coming in from the east. You're coming in from the east, and it's on Pnei Kaporas Kedma. When you're coming in over here, you're surely on the east. The drush is useful only to know other places. There's someplace else the word Pnei is going to mean the east. Not the for us, but we learn it for something else. The Gemara continues that about how to count 1 and 1, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, or the other way, 2 and 1, 3 and 1, 4 and 1. Right. So that doesn't make any difference. Whichever way you do is good. Mark Yasser, whatever your minute, how to count. As far as the halacha that you must include the first counting together with the 1 up, together with the 7 down. Why do you have to count it all together? So Rabbi Elazar says just in order not to make a mistake, it's just a precaution. You shouldn't get confused in your way you're counting. And the Yochanan says that as the rice he learns out of the pasuk, and if you didn't do it, you're not Yosei, even if you didn't make any mistake. Who do you pass him like? It seems from the Rambam, there's a note over here that it sounds like the first one. Shaloyita, just that he shouldn't make a mistake, but it's not the rice. After that, the Gemara says, we're in the middle of handling, we didn't finish it yet, but the Gemara is talking about according to Yehuda, you only have 1 stand for the blood that you switch it. When you come out, you have only 1 stand, then you take the one of the bull, put the one of the goat. How come you don't have 2? So far, the Gemara thought maybe because you shouldn't get confused. But the Gemara says, no, it would have been enough just to write it down. Make 1 par, 1 sawyer. So we don't know the answer for that. That's the Gemara's Gemara. But what the Gemara did do so far is to figure out that in Shkolim, we're in the middle of figuring that out. How come over there he doesn't make 2 boxes, 1 for Chova, 1 for Nedava? The first thing Gemara thought is because you shouldn't get confused. But the Gemara says, no, it's no problem to write. You see that by the 13 Shofaros, you did write. It must be a different reason. And the Gemara says now the reason is because if someone's going to die, not maybe he's going to die, if someone actually died after they put the money in, so then the whole box is going to be messed up now because one of them is the Chata Shemei Sebel. You don't know which one. And you're not going to be able to bring any of them. Because of that, don't make such a box for Chata. Chatas, just make a box for Ola.
Oh, so then obviously there's not going to be any Nedavas in this for
There's no chatas, no chatas. You don't bring it, right.
Doesn't exist.
Right, you just, if you have to, if you have a chatas, then you don't put it into a box, you go to the Kohen with the money, with the birds, and you make sure that there's no confusion over there. That's
Rebbe,
everybody, thank you, I'm sorry for the interruption, yes, please.
yeah, one Nakud on Leib's question in the Mahalik of the Gemara to say by human error that, you don't, we have another Mahalik we've been saying in the Gemara already, which is Chulsha the Kohen Gadol and Tirda the Kohen Gadol, because
We
he's
did-
up
we
all
didn't
day,
say-
much to
We
do.
didn't say, the Gemara's gonna say it tomorrow.
No, but it's the same idea. It's the same kind of idea, actually, because
The
you
Gemara's
say,
gonna say that, the Gemara is soon gonna say that even though people don't make mistake, but on Yom Kippur, that he's fasting and everything, then the Gemara is gonna say that's the reason. That's gonna be the maskana of tomorrow. You're a daf ahead. Nachon? That's what the Gemara is gonna say in the next daf.
yeah, I did realize that
Okay,
that was the end of this particular discussion, but they all seem,
right. But we didn't get there
they
yet.
all seem to be a very similar Mahalik, I mean,
The Gemara is saying usually you do rely on, but on a fast day and all that, the Kohen Gadol is doing, so it could be that he's gonna make a mistake, even though it says on it, Par and Sawyer, he still might forget. That's gonna be the answer. That's the answer after everything. Yashikor, thank you, everybody. Yashikor, thank you.
Thank you.
Devar.
Thank you. Thank you.